So you guys interviewed the Adolf Hitler incarnate, Benjamin Netanyahu, and now everybody's yelling at you guys, I assume. Who the set that up? Was it Miriam Adelson?
Well, we actually toured the White House right before, and he was in DC. It was kind of like a
someone must have. Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't like, I love the Nelk Boys. I'm a big consumer of Happy Dad, and then was like, let's do this.
Well, we've had Trump on a few times.
Some communications team at the White House hit us up, connected us with their communications team, and presented us the opportunity to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, let's do it. Sounds great.
I mean, yeah, I can say it again. I've said it a few times, but I can't speak to podcasting as a whole. And, other podcasters, they'll have people on with just people they've had good relationships with, or their friends, or people they agree with. But with the Full Send podcast, hate it or love it, right or wrong, if we ever get the opportunity to have a controversial guest on, we're never going to turn it down. Because in my opinion, what we want to do with the Full Send podcast on is we're not afraid to have controversial people on. We're going to ask them questions. Sure, we're probably not the best at asking questions. We're not the best journalists, never claimed to be. So we might not be the best at pressing them. But in my opinion, it's up to the viewer to form their own educated opinion. Like, we have someone controversial on, we ask them questions. I think people give us a little too much credit when they say, oh, you're platforming him. Or like, I think, sure, we have a young audience, but they're not stupid. And we don't think they're stupid whatsoever. And I think this podcast is a perfect example of that. If you go and read the comments, just because we have someone on and we're sitting beside someone, people aren't going to be like, oh my God, Nelk's with them. Like, I love this person. Like, yeah, wait, that's just not the way it works.
I don't think anybody loves Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't even think American presidents like Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, though.
But I don't think you can platform the prime minister of Israel. That's not my argument. I don't really give a shit about that. My question is, do you feel like there is a culpability that you have? Because look, Donald Trump is a contentious figure, and obviously he's responsible for a metric ton of pain and violence as well, but so is every other American president. That's one thing. But Benjamin Netanyahu is unique in the sense that he's also a foreign leader. So I guess the question is because he's getting something out of this, right? He's getting something out of this where he gets to, I guess, try and humanize himself.
That's the thing that's on is we'll have anyone on. Like, next episode, we're going to have someone on with the complete opposite ideology that we've already been planning before this podcast came out.
Who are you guys having on?
I mean, I'd love to hear your suggestions. We have from different friends. You could DM us after if you don't want to say them live, but we're talking to a few different people, and we want to choose the right person to kind of represent the opposite side.
Okay, but Benjamin Netanyahu isn't just like a podcaster. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally the prime minister that is a war criminal by the International Criminal Court. He's literally branded as a war criminal. And it's unique because the International Criminal Court is a European institution. And they've never criticized an American or anyone who's an American ally in the past. So it's he's killed so many children that even the International Criminal Court was like, damn, this guy sucks. Yeah. He's literally interviewing Adolf Hitler.
I think if you watch it though too, I think yes. I think me and Steiny could have pressed him a little bit harder, but we did ask him, what is your response to when people say you're starving children in Gaza? Do you think October 7th could have been prevented? Are you trying to implement regime change in Iran? Americans don't want another war with regime change. So we definitely did ask him some questions that I think people wanted to know.
Okay, what did he say? I mean, of course, he said
for starving children in Gaza, he said that they bring the food in and Hamas steals it and then sells it.
That's a lie. You know what I mean? That's so. Right. So here's the thing.
What's your opinion? Hasan, you got to remember that one side's going to say one thing, and the other side's going to say it's a lie.
I don't think you guys having a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu is the interesting point of contention here for me, at least. I think it's in and of itself, it's worthy of scrutiny because it's you guys, it's like interviewing Adolf Hitler. Would you interview Adolf Hitler during the Holocaust if you had the opportunity? Probably not, right? And we had less information on the Holocaust while it was happening than we do on this modern iteration of a genocide. because we get to see it in real time because we have the internet.
Okay, so wait, what's your response to what he answered us? You didn't even talk about that.
It's a lie. No human rights organization that works on the ground, from the UN to the World Food Program, has ever agreed to the Israeli position that this is all Hamas stealing aid or whatever. As a matter of fact, they've openly said that that is not the case at all. It's just a way for Israel to continue justifying its starvation policies against the entire civilian population of Gaza, so that they can claim that, like, oh, Hamas is just like stealing this aid. It's bullshit. They've never actually given a single piece of evidence for this. It is just a claim that people have to supposedly take at face value because Israel said it. It's a lie.
And what's the other side's proof? Just so we can play both sides here.
Well, the other side is not even like the side of the Palestinians. I'm not even offering the side of the Palestinians. The Palestinians obviously think that that's bullshit as well. But the other side is an unbiased third party. The World Food Program is not, on board with Hamas. The World Food Program or the UN is not Hamas or anti-Semitic or anti-Israel, beyond, the obvious reasons why you would be anti-Israel, because they're doing these things and then lying about it.
So what's your overall opinion of us? Like Kyle just stated, that we're having a world leader on. That's what we're more focused on.
I think it was dumb. I'll be honest. Because it's not.
But you would do the same thing, Hasan, if you had the opportunity. 100%.
No, I mean, there's a difference, though. I'm well equipped to have a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, because when he says something like that, I can turn around and be like, well, the World Food Program has said that, there is no evidence to suggest that Hamas is stealing aid. Whereas you don't have that follow up in that situation. And Benjamin Netanyahu knows that, and his team knows that, which is precisely why he went on the Nelk Boys podcast and he didn't go on, my stream or something. And I don't even know if I would honestly have a conversation with him if given the opportunity.
In my opinion, I think that, like, for example, I think Trump is really good on a podcast. Like, obviously, that's why he did his whole podcast. I mean, he's clearly a good speaker. Like, you can't deny that. But I think, in my opinion, just because we platform someone, it doesn't necessarily equate to like a positive outcome for the guest. And I think this is like a perfect example of that. Like, this could even be a negative thing.
No, I think in the grand scheme of things, like it's not moving the needle, because Benjamin Netanyahu gets positive coverage from every outlet. He gets positive coverage from every outlet. So you guys are marginal in that regard. It's not like all that significant. But if you're looking for what I'm
trying to say, though.
What do you mean?
If Fox News has him on and they're more supportive of him than we have him on. CNN
that's why I'm saying it's marginal. Like you having him on is marginal, as opposed to like him going on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, all of those other outlets. And then not just Benjamin Netanyahu, but like Israeli envoys going on CNN every night and saying, well, we blew up this mosque, or we blew up this church because Hamas was in it, or whatever. That is ultimately playing a role in crafting this elaborate narrative that Israel is always in the right, Israel has a right to defend itself, and that they have to do these things. They have to contextualize this violence. Like, all of that plays a much larger role. You guys just basically are presenting a similar perspective that you get from CNN or Fox News, but now to a younger audience that's going to look at, I guess, maybe Benjamin Netanyahu and be like, he's a chill guy that you can hang with, but I don't even know if he's capable of doing that.
Wait, Hasan, here's kind of where I disagree with you. Is if you watch CNN or you watch Fox News, you kind of know what narrative you're looking for. And with us playing that neutral ground, you don't know what you're going to get, right? So that's the differentiator. And like we told, I don't know if Kyle mentioned this earlier, but we're having a pro-Palestinian on as our very, very soon here. So
I don't know who you guys are having on, but I mean, it depends on.
What I'm trying to say is, like, how are we, if we're a neutral podcast, how are we anything like either side? If you know what you're going to get when you tune into either network.
No one is fully neutral in that regard, right? Because like that's why I asked, like, would you, if Osama bin Laden wasn't dead, would you interview him?
Do you want? I mean, honestly, I don't know. That's a tough question.
Would you?
If Osama bin Laden wasn't dead, yeah, of course. And the same but it would be contentious in the same vein as the Benjamin Netanyahu interview. Like, there are people that I interview that the American audiences would consider.
If you got bin Laden, you'd never be able to grill him, because you would have had to go to Afghanistan. You would have mission to a cave and they would.
No, I mean, we're setting up a hypothetical scenario where Bin Laden is able to like connect via Discord. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm not going to interview Bin Laden with a gun trained on my head. That would not be a situation. Like that would not be the case. He's dead anyway. In the hypothetical,
right. Well, I mean,
would you be able to?
We interviewed him in the White House with 20 people standing around us in suits that we didn't know who they were. So it's almost.
I think in that
not the same situation,
a little different.
Yeah, I mean,
respectful.
Okay, so my point is, it would not. Would you be neutral with Bin Laden in the same way that you're like a neutral podcast?
I think we would. Yeah, we would do our best to ask him tough questions.
Okay. All right.
I think
what about ISIS?
Understanding too, right? Well,
what about Adolf Hitler?
I think we'd always kind of play the neutral role.
You would play a neutral role interviewing Adolf Hitler. I don't think that's the case. I think you're just saying that right now because you want to.
We're just not the best at grilling guests and pushing back on them, to be honest. Like I said, we're not claiming to be good journalists. Like we can ask a question, but when it comes to like a follow-up question, I'll be honest, we're not the most like I've never claimed to be super educated on this.
Hasan, you haven't even watched the podcast.
I haven't. I haven't had time. I don't know. I don't know what kind of questions you guys ask, but I assume.
Wait, listen. The first few minutes is us sitting there like, yo, we are not qualified to do this. This is insane. We acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you're right. We're not the best journalists. We're not the most fit to do this. But the fact that we had an opportunity to interview a world leader, two guys like us, we're going to jump on that just as I know you would. So
yeah, but the difference is the difference is like if there was a situation where I felt like I was ill-equipped for the task, I would just not do it. You know what I mean?
I didn't say we're ill-equipped, but I said there's people probably more fit.
Well, I mean, if you're I mean, this is a unique opportunity. You have an unprecedented opportunity.
Podcast is, I'll be honest. No, let's be honest. The Full-Time podcast is never going to be the best line of questioning. Like, I'll be honest. That's the honest truth. Let's be real here. That's exactly, and that's why they choose us, and that's why the show is what it is, because we're kind of dumb and we're not the best. We're not. Let me
ask you guys this: Is there a person?
The podcast is what it is.
Is there a person that you guys wouldn't interview? Because like we're also like now stuck on whether you guys should be interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu or not. I think if someone is
in today's age, like right now, I think that's a fair question to ask. Right now,
like, would you? What did you say?
Like, I'm talking about right now.
You guys speak to people that are alive because
you can't speak to time. Yeah, we're saying right now because that's pretty much where we're at. So like, if we could interview anyone right now, like who would we say no to? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I can't think of someone.
Okay, so like even out of like because the reason why I have to go back to historical figures that have conducted genocides is because like Benjamin Netanyahu is doing one right now, and he's not even the singular force of evil here.
You're talking about hypotheticals, bro. That's where you lose me because you're talking about.
Well, I mean, the reason why is trying. Well, I'm using this as an analogy.
Like Tucker Carlson had Putin on. Other journalists have.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson had Vladimir Putin on, and when Tucker Carlson had Vladimir Putin on, he did that in a capacity to do propaganda for Vladimir Putin. For sure. He didn't push back at all. He was there. He was in Russia, and he did it specifically so he could do.
You really can't in that situation.
I know, but that's precisely why, like, sometimes it's better not to take that opportunity. You know what I mean? That's my position.
Right. Like for the
even then, Tucker Carlson, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tucker Carlson is still more equipped to at least have like follow-up questions. Like, think about the Ted Cruz interview that he had. Like, he obviously is.
Yeah, of course. Tucker's the man, in my opinion. But when I watched that Putin interview, like I thought Putin was like dodging questions and he like didn't answer anything. So that's what goes back to my point of like platforming someone. And I think just because we have someone on, it doesn't always mean a positive for the guest. And I mean, if you go read this comment section, like I don't think this is necessarily a positive thing for Netanyahu.
Yeah, but it's not a positive thing for you guys either, because most of your audience is probably already anti-Israel and anti-Netanyahu. So now they're yelling at you guys.
That's
so
fine,
now
I can sleep at night knowing like our intention with this, and you know, we're not pro-Israel. I'm not pro-Israel. I don't know enough about this conflict, to be honest. I only see what I read online, and I hear his point of view, then I hear your point of view. I really have no idea what's going on. I'd love to learn more. But
yeah, but I think you got to do that before you do an interview. Look, my point is this.
Okay, wait,
what you guys did is from my estimation, okay, what you guys did is no different than like what CNN does, okay? You just basically presented someone who is a war criminal, someone who is doing a genocide in a somewhat neutral light. And you can't be neutral when you have someone like Benjamin Netanyahu directly in an opportunity to talk to him. But that's what happened. So there is moral culpability here for you guys individually.
Well, I think this is the way we roll. The way we roll with this is it's going to give us the opportunity to get the biggest people in the world. And I think you'll know by the Full Send podcast when you watch it. It's like, hey, we're going to watch these guys are going to get big guests. We might not necessarily get these guys grilling these people, and that's just what you're going to come to expect.
I know, but if you don't grill them, then all you're doing is like, just like I said,
we're having them on. And
what you're doing in that situation is basically just propaganda, no?
I still think people are hold on.
Wait, Tyler, you're missing the biggest point here. Son, we're looking to have someone from the opposite side and give them the exact same opportunity.
Okay, well, you would have to have. I mean, there is no opposite side because like there's one side that's being genocided and the other side that's doing the genocide. So in this situation,
someone who has opposite
like it would be like interviewing the leadership of Hamas. You know what I mean? And that's illegal under. I mean, I don't think you would be able to conduct that on your own.
We would 100% do that if we were safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the Iranian supreme leader called me right now and we knew we were safe, we would obviously do that.
Okay. The Iranian supreme leader is not.
Which I think it's funny. I think it's funny that you haven't watched yet because you're going kind of ham on us and you haven't.
Well, I haven't had the opportunity to watch it. I was going to get to it.
You're busy.
But
what I was going to say is that we did talk about Hamas. We did talk about a lot of these things.
I know, but just simply talking about it without having the proper knowledge and the proper equipment to be able to push back when he's lying only turns it into an opportunity for him to like. Why do you think Benjamin Netanyahu did this? He did this because
we agree with you.
No, we agree with you. We're not. We know that.
Bro, that's the reason
he used you guys is what I'm saying. He used you guys and your lack of knowledge on this issue.
I don't know if that was necessarily successful though.
Yeah, that with Kyle, I agree.
I mean,
I think everyone's seeing what Trump did, and Hasan after the whole election. The whole story was how podcasts won the election. Blah blah blah. That was every story. Like I even did a bunch of interviews on it too. And I think obviously the Israeli team sees that and they're like, oh, we need to do podcasts. But in my opinion, not everyone is a Trump and that good of a speaker that can go on and kind of adapt to any environment. And I think that Netanyahu came on and I think you see the response. And I think that podcasting doesn't work for anyone. We saw what happened with Kamala too. Like she was a disaster on pods. So I think just because we platform someone, it doesn't necessarily like mean that we're trying to help them. Or I think viewers are a lot smarter than they think they are.
Okay, Benjamin Netanyahu is a multiple decade politician and has been the leader of Israel in perpetuity. He is a lot better at propaganda than you think he is. Okay, first of all, let's just get that out of the way. The idea that you think that he is not capable of like weaving through a couple softballs that you thought were hard-hitting questions that he has probably addressed a million times over is silly. Let me make no mistake.
Oh, no, yeah. I agree with you on that.
So my question to you is, why do you think he wanted to come on the Nelk Boys podcast? He saw the podcast.
Of course he wanted to.
We're not stupid, bro.
Of course he wanted to come on to try to win over the young audience. We're not disagreeing on that.
Okay.
I'm saying I don't necessarily know if that's successful. And I think just because you come on the Full Send podcast and sit beside Nelk Boys and take some softball questions, if you say that, it doesn't necessarily equate to a positive outcome for the guest. I don't think platforming people
like the question is this, right? The question is the same. Like Adolf Hitler comes on the podcast. I mean, you
can just go read the comments. Like
Adolf Hitler comes on the podcast. You guys are having a conversation with him, and he starts, and you're like, why are you sending Jews to the concentration camps?
I think we should speak. I think we should speak by some.
No. The reason why we're using this analog is because I think that there is
that's a fair comparison.
The reason why, well, I don't think it's an unfair comparison at all. I think it's a perfectly apt comparison.
It's not realistic.
But we can talk about because that's an analogy. So I'm using that. I'm using that as an analogy because Adolf Hitler is a figure that you and I both agree is a truly evil, monstrous figure.
Why don't you just name one person alive for the analogy?
But I'm using this as an analogy because you already have established that Adolf Hitler is like doing something akin to what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. That's why I'm using this as an analogy. There's no modern contemporary that I can use at this moment that you would have that would have a similar impact for you. That's why I'm using it as an analog.
But you're talking about completely hypotheticals.
Yeah, of course, that's what an analogy is. I'm comparing. As long as the crimes are comparable, which is genocide on both ends, as long as the crimes are comparable, then and you understand that the crimes are comparable. If you think that there's something wrong with the analogy, you can tackle why I'm using it as an analogy, not just saying, "Oh, you can't use an analogy."
I wasn't allowed. I can't speak to it. I wasn't allowed. But if you can make the analogy.
But you know the Holocaust happened, right? Like obviously.
Yes.
I would say so.
Okay, so since you understand that the Holocaust happened,